Hello and good morning. Today we'd like to talk to you a little bit about our risk management plan for the airport wireless project we have going on for your company, and I'd like to extend my gratitude to all the stakeholders for coming out today and taking part in this risk management briefing that we have going on. So we have a little bit of a PowerPoint set up to go through some of the risk management plan, and we'll talk about each slide individually real quick here, and then if you have any questions at the end, we can address those questions with all the stakeholders. So we'll go ahead and kick this off. This is the Risk Management Plan by David Gottfried for Project Management 400. Okay, so the first slide here has a risk response strategy. What this does for you is allows you to see all the different risks that we've identified thus far going into the project. We think we've caught all the risks that we might come across building this wireless project for the airport. But we do have contingency plans set up in case there are other risks that come across in the future. So we'll go through some of these risks step by step, and we'll go through the contingencies, responsible parties, and whether they're mitigated, accepted, or avoided altogether. So starting with the top there, the Wi-Fi site survey, we've chosen to avoid or transfer that risk completely. We thought it was it's too much to deal with, so we're gonna go ahead and avoid that risk altogether. The Wi-Fi coverage analysis, we've mitigated that risk by not having enough supplies to accomplish the job. We've ordered extra equipment and supplies to allow for unknown issues. The maintenance Wi-Fi coverage, we've gone ahead and accepted that risk. We've created a contingency plan for multiple locations for the survey to discover with the original plan, so that shouldn't be an issue at all. The WAP location, we've also accepted that risk. We have developed multiple routing strategies to avoid any issues with that. Internet access and the fiber quote placement. So we have multiple vendors in place to go ahead and cover costs that come up or overcharging. So essentially, if we get overcharged or the vendors are gonna come out to be too high of a cost with the quote, we'll just switch to one of our sub vendors that we've already got in line for that. The Wi-Fi connection to the main router plan, we've created multiple routing strategies in case one of them doesn't work due to routing issues. The installation issues, we've accepted that risk. To not cause delays in the schedule, we have extra equipment in place for this installation as well. The maintenance data terminals, we've accepted that risk. It's a low risk installation setup. May cause unforeseen issues, but hiring professionals with a good track record will probably mitigate any of those. VPN installation, there may be compatibility issues and installation issues that may cause delays, but we have a professional contractor on hand in case there's anything that comes up. Lastly is the maintenance terminal testing. We have chosen to avoid that risk altogether. We thought that risk was too high and it wasn't something we wanted to deal with. So what we've done is hired a professional to go ahead and take care of that issue for us, so we don't come across any issues that we're not able to handle ourselves. So those are all the risks that we've identified thus far and our response to those risks. On the right, you'll see who's responsible for each risk for our team, and you'll have the trigger for at what day we're going to look at those risks. If anything else comes up aside from those risks, we'll go into our risk change proposal. So we have a change proposal template set up, which would allow us to take any known risks or unknown risks that are coming into the schedule and allowing us to deal with those by proposing adjustments to either the scope or the timeline or the cost to mitigate those risks. So total, we're given one example of one risk that came up so far in the project. It's the relocation of the towers. So we had to relocate the towers. That wasn't an issue we thought was going to happen. It did come up, and so we did put a change request in for this risk to move those towers. And we think that's going to be a good plan. We have an estimated timeline of totaling 21 days for this project, broken into 3 separate 7-day sections. We feel that this is an adequate response to the risk that came up, and the change proposal has been accepted. There are risks associated with responding to this original risk, which could delay us further. However, we are mitigating those. Those risks are delaying the relocation altogether, or a delay in the relocation altogether. We may have weather issues or delay in the frequency study once we go ahead and do that. And there we are currently building risk management plans to deal with all those additional risks that could come up for that antenna change portion. Okay, moving on, the integrated project change control. So if we do have a risk that comes up and we need to make changes, we do have a system in place to deal with those risks and those changes. And that's why I wanted to show you this slide, just to let you know that there's a process in place that will take us from start to finish, and will cover all the things that we need to do to implement that change based off that risk. So if you follow the flow chart, it'll allow the team to implement any changes as a rapid response to any risk. And in addition to implementing those changes, we'll have to update the following documents, as you can see here on the slide: the change log, the risk register, project documents. We'll update any Gantt charts with our critical timeline, and we'll update schedules and timelines. So all of that will get updated in addition to the change proposal altogether. Okay, with that being said, we'll wrap it up. Today we talked about the risk management plan. We've talked about what risks are out there that we've already identified and how we're going to deal with those risks and who's going to deal with those risks. We've talked about a change proposal for new risks, how we will deal with any changes that come in, and how that proposal will be handled and routed through the team. And we've talked about our communication plan, which allows us, once we get that change proposal, to communicate all the necessary steps and adjustments to everyone on the team, to include the stakeholders at this table today. So if there aren't any further questions, I thank you for your time and consideration.